morning, everyone. This is Trami with Chopsticks Alley. We are here at Chopsticks Alley talking about a very important topic for our Vietnamese community. And I have with me two of my lovely co-hosts.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Chung.
And I'm Kim Quinn.
And they're both editors for Chopsticks Alley, and you are the editor for
the lifestyle section.
And I'm the editor for the literature section.
So very smart ladies and also lovely as well. For today's topic, we're going to talk about the Vietnamese standard of beauty for women and how unrealistic it is, in my opinion.
Yes, and we also like to thank our sponsor, Forever Be More Cosmetics. They have given us 2 gift certificates worth $100 each for 2 lucky winners here. All you need to do is like one of our videos or our main Chopsticks Alley video for a chance to win. Forever Be More Cosmetics is located here in San Jose, California, and they specialize in products for skincare for all genders, for all ages, and also for all types of skin problems. So you can either visit them online, www.foreverbemore.com for more information, or stay tuned.
And it's a perfect sponsor for us for today's topic, right?
Yeah, so we thought this was important because the average woman spends more than $15,000 on makeup products. And so whether you conform to expectations of beauty or you choose not to, it definitely affects you as a woman. And if you throw in different cultural expectations, it's very intriguing and worth dissecting.
Great. Well, I know you recently just competed in Miss California.
Right.
And so what was the standard of beauty for an American pageant, essentially, and how was it when you with our standard?
Right. So I competed in both Vietnamese and American pageants. And what I noticed was that contestants tended to veer towards 2 very distinct personas. So for the non-Vietnamese pageants, they were tan, athletic, very assertive and bouncy. And for the Vietnamese one, you had to be very demure and delicate,
that's right.
graceful, poised. Pageant, everybody wore these very, very tall 6-inch heels because we're shorter.
Yes.
And nobody got spray tan because pale skin is like a thing that's supposed to be practiced. So yeah, that's what I noticed.
I definitely can identify with the short because I'm actually short.
I mean, as am I.
And then the dark skin. I would go for the American pageant myself because I've got a self tanning always.
Jen, you competed too. What did you notice?
Yeah, well, like competing in Vietnamese pageants, like you mentioned, you have to have well, you don't have to have, but it's like plus points if you're like fair skinned, if you're tall. And that you're very graceful and poised on stage, like you mentioned. And when I competed in Miss California USA, I was told to get like a really deep tan. And my mom kind of criticized it. She was like, well, why do they want someone so tan anyways? And so it was very different for me too. And like you mentioned as well, like you have to be really bouncy and luxurious curls. And that was really hard for me because I've been so used to being so graceful and super poised and gentle on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to address a very important aspect of this particular conversation with the 3 of us because you two are obviously beautiful, and I'm not so bad looking myself. Why would the 3 beautiful women talk about standards of beauty? I mean, how is that going to work?
Right. It's always affected our lives. Like growing up, there's always expectations set out for us.
Today's topic is really about accepting who you are and what you look like. And some of us are born a certain way, and there's things we can do about it to look better.
Yeah.
So like getting the cosmetics and skincare products to help our skin if we have acne, right? Didn't you suffer with acne?
Yeah, growing up, it was just a part of, being a teenager. I had really bad acne, and at the time, I didn't really know how to take care of it yet. But, every time I came in and visited relatives, or I would just, walk in the store, for instance, I would be approached by someone who was genuinely concerned, but the way they, told me it was very, offensive to me. They were like, why do you have so much acne? Don't you know how to take care of your skin? Don't you wash your face? And just, questions like that. And, as a teenager, I felt, really unconfident about myself.
Yeah, and it's not even your fault.
Yeah, it's not even my fault. It's hormones, you guys.
Yeah, you can't change it. Like, when they say, oh, Trami, wow, all your siblings are so tall. What happened to you? It's like, well, what can I do about it?
Yeah.
I mean, did this thing like that happen to you?
Yeah. So I mean, in high school and middle school, everyone was kind of really awkward phase, and I wore glasses. I was deathly pale, and I had baby fat. And relatives would say, Kim is looking kind of chubs these days.
Yep.
But they say it more discreetly in Vietnamese.
You have a nice family then.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that I don't feel that I still care about my fitness, but it's important to separate that from like how you view your self-worth, right? Like it's not who you are.
Yeah, and also it's important to accept your body type. Like I would never be a swan tall person, right? So I just learned, you know what? I've got that athletic build. Okay, that's what I like to call it. All right, call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I'm darker skinned, and I know that in certain areas of the world they love it, in other parts of the world they don't like it. But who cares? It's who you are, and until you own that and love yourself, you're never gonna be able to like yourself because you're always gonna be competing against some higher standard, even if those standards are unrealistic.
Yeah, like some of the standards that they expect us to have is like, okay, so white porcelain skin, flawless skin, no pores, no acne. What else? There's like the tall bridge nose,
and the crease, the eyes,
double lid.
eyes.
And I asked like my sister and my friends too, like what else do they expect from us?
I think that the standards of beauty for us is realistic in everyday life.
No, I definitely don't think so. I mean, I know it took me 2 hours this morning to like curl my hair, put on makeup, and I just, I want to know, like, I want to let you guys know like how constructed it is to like look good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, I mean, especially with social media now, right? Everyone
Has an app.
Everyone, yeah. You want to talk about how you feel about photo apps and editing and all that.
Yeah, well, with the apps, at first I only knew like Camera Plus or something, and it makes your you look better. But then I discovered, because an Asian friend of mine showed me that there are apps made for Asians, so that it lightens up the skin.
It even points your jaw out if that's what you want.
Add more makeup.
It's crazy.
It's nuts, and that's just not realistic. But it is fun. I know I like to play with it.
Yeah.
But do you think that if we don't look good in this society, we get treated differently?
Yes. I mean, studies show that women who are more well-groomed and attractive, they get paid more for it. They get promoted more often. But I think, that's part of it. But I also think a lot of it's internal. Because I've started to not wear makeup sometimes, and I expect to be, treated invisibly and just to be ignored. But I mean, if you're polite and you're friendly, you can look terrible and still be treated as, a great person. And
Right.
so that's something I've learned.
It's confidence. Too.
Yeah, it's definitely confidence.
It's important to again remember that we are as beautiful on the inside as we can make it. That's something you can change.
There's really no right or wrong answer to plastic surgery. It's all personal preference. Like for me, as long as you feel like you're comfortable doing it and it's something that you really want to do, then by all means go for it. But I think that it's also like contradictory of me to say that, because at the same time you shouldn't be depending on plastic surgery to make you happy.
There are certain things though that people will judge us. Let's face it. So if you're going to a job interview, say, and it's a serious office job, and you've got piercings and tattoos, people will judge you. And if you do not fit the culture, unless you work for a corporation that sells tattoo products, right? Then it's just not realistic to expect everyone to like you just exactly the way you are, because they're just not.
Yeah.
And in relationships too, right?
Yeah, in relationships, I mean, like when you first meet someone, you're totally attracted to them, and you do do your best to look good for them. And then after a while, I'm pretty sure we've all experienced this.
Yes.
After a while, we kind of stop looking good. We get a little bit lazy. We wear a little bit less makeup. We wake up on the other side of the bed sprawled out. And so, what realistic expectations do long-term couples have towards aging, and how do one maintain that physical attractiveness throughout their entire relationship?
What do you think?
Well, for me, when I get into a relationship, I wear makeup a lot. And then slowly it comes off, and then slowly the sweatpants come out. And
bam,
yeah.
here I am.
Does the guy go, what?
Kind of, but you can gradually enough, he gets used to it. And I think it's actually really important to do that, because it's kind of a test.
Don't surprise them overnight. Do it slowly.
One layer at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it's that way, outside of physical appearance too, right? Like, you present your best self, and then slowly, the skeletons come out of the closet. And it's kind of an important test, because, if they still love you, no matter what you look like, eventually you're going to be older, and they have to accept that too. And If they love you, won't matter.
Yeah, and a lot of guys actually don't mind it. In fact, when they first meet you, they don't want to see a ton of makeup on. I mean, they want to see you somewhat still look your natural self, and over time, they actually enjoy seeing these layers of yourself being stripped off because then you seem more like a real person to them.
Yeah. The only thing I would disagree with you on, yes, is how if they love you no matter, then they'll just love you no matter what. I think you probably don't mean it like the extreme. Right? So I think that when you meet someone, you look a certain way, they look a certain way. There is a responsibility for the two of you to maintain that. Now, I'm not talking about, you're 50, 60, you have a beard, but, you're getting older. That's okay. But just not like go from a normal size to like 500 pounds and then you say, oh, I expect you to love me anyways. Because that is not fair. Right? Yeah. It's not fair to the partner. Yeah. But aging gracefully, aging as you age, you're still exercising. Okay, I don't exercise. Right, but it is what you're supposed to look like. Keeping your physical fitness and how you take care of yourself and how you dress is very important.
Yeah, because then it keeps you happy too. Because a lot of times,
exactly.
As you get older, you kind of forget about all these things, and you're just so focused on maybe your family that you forget about yourself. And then how you feel about yourself, you're no longer confident. You might not be so happy with yourself, and that's going to reflect on your relationship with, like, your husband or your kids.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it essentially comes down to do it for yourself.
Yeah,
because if you are happy, then your partners will be happy. So, from a woman's perspective, happy wife, happy life. And for guys, I think that it's equally important for men to stay attractive too. It's not okay for them to let their bodies go, right? And expect you to still love it,
right? Yeah,
right? Because life is hard, marriage is tougher. So.
Yeah, I also kind of wanted to go over, what sort of dangers are associated with like these kind of beauty standards and wanting to achieve these beauty standards. So for instance, there's like white porcelain skin that we're expected to have. There's tons of whitening products out there that are very harmful for your skin. People go to the extreme to get their skin whitened, and in turn it can harm them, like dark spots for instance.
Forever. And also there's shots now, did you know this? There's a vitamin, I forget the name, it's very long, and I don't want to give it to the audience because they'll look it up and they want to inject it. But it's a vitamin that they get it infused at a high level. So you can take it on a daily, intake, but your body doesn't absorb that vitamin as much. And so instead, they inject it via IV, and you do that once a week for X amount of months, and then your skin will slowly lighten. And the reason is because it's a side effect of the overdose of the vitamin.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's not approved by the FDA, but there in San Jose, California, there are a few beauty clinics that offer that. Yeah. So anyways, I thought that was a great conversation, ladies. And we would love for you to maybe tell the audience a learning lesson for you.
So for me, it took me a really long time to realize this, but how you look and makeup can be fun, right? Like fitness is important. It's a fun thing, but it shouldn't factor into who you are as a person, what you contribute, and how you value yourself as an individual. It's separate.
Yeah, and for me, you won't find happiness chasing these unrealistic standards. You're gonna find happiness when you come to the conclusion that you're already your best self, and we should celebrate what makes us all different.
Yeah, and I personally, for me, I just think that if you try to please other people, it is a moving target. You will never be able to please them. Because as soon as you think you did it, someone else will say something else about you. So set your own standard, meet those standards for yourself. That's the only way you're going to be happier, and focus on what you can do instead. Instead of the physical that you can't change, what can you do that would make you happy? Are you a great photographer? Are you going to do community service? Are you, anything else that makes you happy? And then you will find that confidence when you do those things well.
So, again, we want to thank you to our sponsor, Forever Be More Cosmetics. We're going to give away 2 $100 gift certificates. You can find more information on the link below.
Thank you so much, everyone, and ladies, and let's do this again next time.
Yes.
And I know we have a list of, oh my gosh, controversial topics, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll bring in the guys next time.
Yeah, and feel free, if you have any topics you want us to cover, go ahead and PM any one of us. We'll love to hear from you, any feedback that you have. Thank you so much.
And post our video too. All right, bye everybody. We're gonna have some breakfast now. So much for weight loss or whatever. Here's some soy.